Okay folks, we are back in no rest for the wicked, and this time around we are doing some more testing whilst we wait on the patch to arrive. No idea when that might be, but yeah, I guess we'll see, right? So anyways, today we are testing physical damage versus heat damage. As you can see, we have our trusty claymore once more with heat damage infused and damage increased by 30% against large enemies. And my other claymore is pretty much the same, except it doesn't have any heat damage infusion. Yeah, so we'll be running this without armor and just a few rings. That doesn't add any damage whatsoever. So yeah, let's get it started and see what our damage numbers are. Okay, so that's 351, and as you can see, our damage is still ticking there at the bottom on the health bar, and we're going to be measuring that and comparing it towards the end on a little graph where I just put everything back, everything next to one another. So yes, that's the first start, and then we are moving on to, okay, so that was heat infused, yeah. So we're going to be moving on to physical damage. Yeah, definitely physical damage. Let me just speed that up. Okay, so we're swapping our claymore with physical damage. As you can see, it has a 10% physical damage addition on it and no heat damage whatsoever. So we're going to see what the damage numbers are. And that's 451. Okay, so that's more damage initially, but there's no damage over time. So we're going to be measuring that afterwards, as I said, and see what the difference is. Righty, so moving along, we are going to be using my heat infused claymore again. Oh, wait, which one was that? Was it heat infused? Yes, heat infused. And then I have my hat on that gives an additional 25% heat damage. Okay, let's see what the end results are. Just slowing it down a bit so that we can actually see what the... I can take a screenshot of the actual health bar towards the end so that we can compare the differences afterwards. Okay, that should be good. He's still gaining health as he is now. Alrighty, that was a good result, I think. Moving on to, let's see here, physical damage increased by 10%. That's my other claymore. And then on the gloves, additional 25% on physical damage. Let's see what the end results are. $554. That is a big number. My goodness. Okay, so that health bar doesn't move any further, so we take a screenshot of that. And then we move on to our next section, where we will be using my heat infused claymore once more. We're putting on some gloves. Let me see. No, we put on the hat, and we have some gloves here, and somewhere we have something else. I think we have a chest piece. Yes, a chest piece. Okay. Okay, so we'll be going with the hat that gives an extra 25% heat damage, and then burn damage increased by 50%, and then an additional burn buildup increased by 30%. Unfortunately, I don't have any pants that give any additional heat damage, but yeah, I don't think you don't even get that. So let's see, this is pretty much everything thrown in. Okay, initial damage is still the same for 59. Then we just slow it down to see what the actual damage is towards the end. Still ticking ever so slowly. That is definitely ticking a lot. Oh, no, don't hit me. We're still ticking away here. So that's it. That was the final tick. Oh my goodness, that certainly looks like heat damage is more. Damage over time is certainly winning. So if you look at everything on the screen here, is where we started. We started with no infusion plus the 10% physical damage on the claymore. versus no infusion plus 10% physical damage on the claymore plus the 25% physical damage on the gloves. If you compare it, it was 451 versus 554. That was actually an increase of 23% and not 25. Yeah, not that big a deal. Then we move over to the heat infusion, and as you can see, it's looking quite insane. The heat infusion is definitely beating the crap out of this build. Or versus the physical build, that is. So if you let's just start here. So how do we, this is quite confusing, isn't it? There's so many things on the screen. But it seems like the 10% physical damage we added gem-wise on the claymore doesn't make any difference whatsoever. Maybe the number is too small to see, but yeah, I don't know. But the physical damage on the gloves, 25% versus the 25% heat damage on the armor, comes out exactly the same. So that both of them are actually 25%, so they work as intended. But once you start everything else towards the heat infusion, plus the 25% heat damage, plus the 50% burn damage, and on top of that, plus the 30% burn build-up increase, which doesn't play that big a factor, but you know, we just added everything on top. And as you can see, the end result is staggering. It seems like heat infusion beats the hell out of physical damage. So yeah, I think that is actually quite interesting. I wasn't expecting that to be, damage difference to be that huge. But anyways, there you have it. Feel free to like and subscribe, and definitely leave a comment below if you think there's something that I missed out on, so that we can discuss it a bit further, and hopefully make more of these further down the line. Until we meet again.